Long before the world knew his name, Chuck Norris was just a quiet boy growing up in a difficult home in Oklahoma. Life there was unstable, marked by hardship, financial struggles, and emotional distance. His father battled personal demons that often left little room for warmth or encouragement, and young Chuck learned early how to stay out of the way. His mother did her best to hold things together, working tirelessly to provide for her children, but the atmosphere at home left a lasting impact. At school, Chuck was shy and withdrawn, often overlooked rather than included. He didn't stand out in academics or athletics, and he rarely spoke up. These early years didn't shape a hero overnight. They created a boy who doubted himself deeply, unsure of his place in the world, quietly searching for something that could give him direction and purpose. Searching for an identity. As he grew older, Chuck carried that quiet uncertainty with him. Moving frequently due to family instability meant he never had the chance to build lasting friendships or feel rooted anywhere. Each new place felt like starting over, reinforcing the belief that he didn't quite belong. By the time he reached adulthood, he wasn't chasing greatness. He was simply trying to escape a life that felt limiting and uncertain. Joining the Air Force wasn't about ambition. It was about finding distance from everything he had known. Yet even in uniform, surrounded by structure and discipline, he still felt lost. The confidence others seemed to carry naturally didn't come easily to him. He often kept to himself, unsure how to connect or where he fit in. But beneath that uncertainty, something was slowly building, a quiet determination waiting for the right spark. A turning point in Korea. Stationed in South Korea, Chuck encountered something that would change his life: martial arts. At first, it was just curiosity, watching others train with focus and control. But soon, it became something more. Inside that training space, he found something he had never experienced before: discipline paired with encouragement. Progress didn't come quickly. He struggled, stumbled, and questioned himself often. Yet for the first time, failure didn't feel like a dead end. It felt like part of the process. Through consistent effort, he began to improve, slowly gaining confidence in his abilities. Martial arts offered him more than physical strength. It gave him structure, purpose, and a way to channel his energy into something constructive. For someone who had spent years feeling invisible, it was the beginning of being seen, if only by himself. Building something from nothing. Returning to the United States, Chuck faced a new challenge: turning his passion into a livelihood. Martial arts were still unfamiliar to most Americans, and opportunities were limited. He took on regular jobs to make ends meet while continuing to train in his spare time. Eventually, he decided to take a risk and open a small karate school. It wasn't an instant success. In fact, there were days when no students showed up at all. Doubt crept back in, whispering that he might be making a mistake, but he persisted, teaching with dedication and sincerity. Slowly, word began to spread. Students came, not just for the techniques, but for the discipline and respect he emphasized. It wasn't glamorous and it wasn't easy, but it was real. For the first time, Chuck was building something of his own, something rooted in effort rather than circumstance. Rising through discipline. Chuck's commitment soon extended beyond teaching into competition. He entered karate tournaments, facing skilled opponents and pushing himself further each time. Success didn't come overnight, but through consistent effort, he began to stand out. His fighting style wasn't flashy, it was controlled, precise, and effective. Over time, he became one of the top competitors in the sport, earning recognition and respect. Yet even as he collected titles, there was a quiet awareness that achievements alone didn't define fulfillment. The trophies represented hard work, but they didn't erase the doubts he had carried for years. Still, each victory reinforced an important lesson. Persistence mattered more than natural talent. His journey wasn't about being the best from the start. It was about refusing to give up, even when progress felt slow. A door into Hollywood. Chuck's transition into acting came unexpectedly, influenced by connections within the martial arts community. Opportunities in film allowed him to showcase his skills on a larger stage. Early roles were modest, and he faced skepticism from those who didn't see him as a traditional actor. But he approached acting the same way he approached training, with patience and discipline. Over time, audiences began to notice his presence. He wasn't trying to be someone else. He brought authenticity to every role. His performances resonated, especially in action films where his background gave him credibility. What started as a side opportunity gradually became a new chapter. Hollywood didn't transform him overnight, but it gave him a platform to share what he had built through years of effort. Balancing success and sacrifice. As his career grew, so did the demands on his time. Film projects, business ventures, and later television commitments required long hours and constant travel. Success brought recognition and financial stability, but it also came with sacrifices. Time with family became limited, and maintaining personal relationships grew more difficult. Like many driven individuals, Chuck focused heavily on building a career, believing it would benefit those he loved. Yet over time, he began to recognize the cost of that focus. Achievements were meaningful, but they didn't replace moments missed or connections weakened. This realization didn't come all at once. It unfolded gradually, shaped by experience and reflection. It was a reminder that success, while valuable, is only one part of a much larger picture. Facing personal loss. Life eventually presented challenges that no level of discipline could fully prepare him for. The loss of loved ones brought a kind of pain that couldn't be solved through effort or resilience alone. These moments forced Chuck to pause and reflect on what truly mattered. Grief has a way of shifting perspective, highlighting the importance of relationships and presence. For someone who had spent much of his life pushing forward, it was a difficult but necessary adjustment. He began to focus more on the people around him, valuing time spent together over accomplishments. These experiences didn't erase the past, but they offered an opportunity to grow and change. Through loss, he gained a deeper understanding of what it means to truly show up for others. Health and humility. Later in life, health challenges became another turning point. Physical strength, once a defining part of his identity, was no longer something he could take for granted. Recovery required patience, support, and a willingness to slow down. It was a different kind of challenge, one that couldn't be overcome through sheer determination alone. Instead, it required acceptance and care. This period brought a sense of humility, reinforcing the idea that strength comes in many forms. It's not just about what the body can do, but how one adapts when circumstances change. Through this experience, Chuck gained a new perspective on resilience, one rooted not in invincibility, but in adaptability and perseverance. Redefining strength today, Chuck Norris is seen less as an action figure and more as a person who has lived through a wide range of experiences. His focus has shifted toward family, community, and giving back. Programs that support young people reflect his belief in discipline and self-confidence as tools for growth. He understands now that influence isn't measured only by fame, but by the impact one has on others. The lessons he shares are simple but meaningful. Stay committed, value relationships, and learn from both success and failure. His journey is not about perfection, it's about progress. It shows that strength isn't defined by never struggling, but by continuing to move forward, even when the path is uncertain. A legacy of humanity. The story of Chuck Norris is often told through achievements, but its deeper meaning lies in the human experiences behind them. It's a story of growth, mistakes, learning, and change. The image of invincibility may capture attention, but the reality is far more relatable. Like anyone else, he faced challenges, made difficult choices, and evolved over time. His legacy isn't just about what he accomplished, but how he adapted and what he chose to value in the end. It's a reminder that true strength comes from understanding what matters most and acting on it. In that sense, his journey reflects something universal, the ongoing effort to become a better version of oneself, one step at a time.